with all sorts of stuff going on. And can you see me yet, Michelle? Am I around yet? We should be streaming this morning.
You are on YouTube.
Woohoo! So, all right. So we should be streaming this morning on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. So good morning, and you should have all been notified, because we don't know what we're doing, to be perfectly honest with you, but we're hoping that we're doing this correctly. We tried this on Thursday morning, and I didn't realise that I needed to turn off all the notifications on my iPad to do this. So we had a phone call in the middle of it and lost the sound, and then we really got messed up and mucked up. Are we on Facebook yet, Michelle? Do you know?
We are on Facebook.
Oh, fantastic. So it is working. So this is good. I'm sorry to be, sort of putting you all through our trial period here, but please let us know if you have difficulties, if you end up not being able to hear us properly or see us properly or what have you, because we're trying this out. This is a new thing that we're doing. So, all right. So it's Saturday morning. Yes, everyone, it is story time. Welcome to story time. I have so many stories to tell. Many of them I've written already in my books, and you can find them in the books. Many of them, though, are brand new, because maybe I've just not gotten around to putting them in a book yet. But I was wondering this morning which story to tell you, and for some reason or another, I hadn't thought about this story. For some reason or another, as I was folding my laundry, yes, I do that. I do have somebody to clean my house, so I don't do that, but I do fold my laundry. I love laundry. It's my favourite. It's one of my favourite things to do, and I'm being really serious when I say that to you. Right. So when I was folding my laundry this morning, it happened that I had a little tap on the shoulder, and we must say good morning to Gregor, who is always standing by my right side here. And he reminded me of a story that happened quite a while ago, quite a long time ago. And I'm not quite sure why I'm telling this story this morning, but anyway, it was suggested to me, so I'm going with that suggestion. So this story this morning concerns a little girl, her parents, and another medium other than myself. Now, I can tell this story because this medium has since passed. I think she was a really lovely person. I didn't know her personally. So let me begin at the beginning. So, as all good stories do begin, as you all know, once upon a time, I had a phone call. And there was a man on the other. I picked up the phone. Hello, there's a man on the other end, and he wanted to make an appointment with me. So I said, okay, so can I have your name? No. So I was immediately taken aback, thinking. So I said to him, well, I've got to put something down in my book. No. So I said, okay, well, let's just call you John then. He said, fine. So I wrote John down, and I said, can I have your telephone number? No. So I said, well, here's the thing, John. My issue is that if I, for any reason, I have to cancel you, or something like that, I'll need to get hold of you. No. So I said, okay then. So I said, how are we going to do this? I said, how about you call me maybe an hour before the consult to check to see if it's still if we're still there. So he said, fine. He was very gruff. He just gave yes or no. He was, you could say, a little bit on the rude side. But anyway, so I'm looking through the diary, and that we're sort of booking months and months and months ahead here. And I'm looking through, and Gregor says to me, he needs it now. So I said, well, what do you mean now? He said, find him, you're going to have to work on your day off, basically. So I'm thinking, all right then. So I'm being told that I should give him the day off. So I said to him, all right, I have a cancellation for next week. the cancellation was my day off. I have a cancellation for next week. Will that do? He said yes. So I said, well, please don't forget to call me an hour before your consultation to make sure that it's still on. He said, that's fine. And click, down went the phone. Had it not been for Grey Eagle being insistent that I, first of all, see him and then second of all, give him my day off, I would have perhaps, been not so keen to want to even give him a consultation. But anyway, that's where it was. Now, I'll tell you now a little bit of the backstory that I didn't find out until after the consultation, but I think it will help us to understand why this man was so abrupt and so rude and, and so sort of unwilling to give me any information about himself. It had turned out that they'd lost their daughter, and they had somehow got in touch with or written to a very famous medium at that time in England, where I was living. And at some point they'd written and said, we really want to see you, and they told them a little bit about what was going on and what had happened to them. And out of the blue one day they had a phone call, and it happened to be the assistant to this medium, who was saying, all right, give me your information. What happened? Tell me what happened, and what are your names, and who are you, and where do you live, and so on and so forth. Now, you see, I would have been suspicious right from the word go. But remember, this couple were in deep distress. They were extremely vulnerable. So they gave all of the information. And then a little bit later, a few weeks later, they had another phone call. And then a few weeks after that, they had another call to say that they'd been invited to a preview of the show because the medium, this famous medium, was coming to the local town, and they were invited to a pre-party or preview so that they could meet this medium and, say hello and what have you. Now, I'm hoping that you're all thinking, well, doesn't that sound suspect? You would be right. They went to this preview. There were lots of other couples in the room with them, and they were talking to other people. Some of them had similar experiences, some had other issues. The medium came in, she met them all, she talked to them all, and of course, because they had been invited for free, no charge, and of course they were all given allotted seating. And as the evening went on, this particular couple that I'm talking about noticed that almost everyone in the theatre who were being given messages were the people in the preview. In other words, the medium knew all about them. She knew what they were doing. She knew who they were. She knew their story. She even knew their names. And so the audience of, I think it was about 2,000 people, were astounded and amazed at all this information that the medium was giving out. She really seemed to know what she was doing. She really seemed to know what she was talking about. Now, this story is not about my condemning another medium. This story is a cautionary tale. When you come to see someone like me, I mean, it would be nice if we did have a contact number, so that if we did have a cancellation, which we had last week because I got a little concussion and I got knocked on the head, and we had to cancel a consultation. But if you if you don't want to give your name, don't give your name. If you want to give a false name, give your name. If a medium is good, if a medium is real, it won't matter to them, as long as you're able to give a contact number. I like to ask people prior to having a consultation, is there anyone in the spirit world that you would like to talk to? If you say no, it's fine. If you say I don't want to tell you, that's also fine. But sometimes it does help, because when you give a consultation to someone, I always chuckle to myself, because I say that my consultations are 50 minutes long. really they're not. I mean, I don't think I've ever done one under an hour and a half. But even so, sometimes if you know, if you say a brother, a mother, you're not giving information, you're not giving out, you know, how they died, you're not giving the relationship between you, you're not saying anything other than, you know, the bare minimum. It really does help sometimes for me, if I'm looking, because sometimes in the spirit world there are so many people who want to come through to chat. It's good to sort of move the crowd apart to find the person that you do want to speak to. But don't give out information, don't give out details, don't write them a letter telling them your story, because a medium who is good, a medium who is real, will be able to talk to those in the spirit world and be able to help to tell you the story and be able to talk to you, because they're getting information from the real source, and the real source is those in the spirit world. So, all right, so now we know why this guy on the phone, every time I asked him a question, no, no, no. They had learned their lesson. Now, the only reason they obviously went away from this show, from this other medium, extremely disappointed, you can imagine, and mistrusting then of all mediums, as you would. And this is, I've come across this so many times, and it's so sad, because the people who need the most help and the most guidance are often those people who go in desperation and are not circumspect. They're not careful about what they say to people. So please, 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 let this be a cautionary tale for all of you. You know, don't give away too much information. And if you come across a medium who you start telling the story and they say, stop, I don't want to know, you know that, okay, you're on the right track with the right person, because that's what I try to do with people. So, all right. So now, not knowing all of that beforehand, right? Now I'm working. It's my day off, but it's apparently not. I hear the doorbell go, and my daughter answers the door, and she obviously puts this couple into my study. I'm upstairs in my bedroom. Now, those of you who think that we have to meditate before we do anything like this, here's a little tip for you. We don't necessarily need to meditate. Greg was laughing at me, because on this particular morning, first of all, I was up late. Second of all, I got sidetracked with other things. And third, when it came to getting dressed, I could not find my shoe. And I ended up on my knees searching under the bed for the one shoe that was missing, so that I could go downstairs and talk to these people. So I finally I'm very flustered. I'm rushing, and I find my shoe, and I come flying out of my bedroom in a hurry, thinking, oh gosh, I'm late, and open the bedroom door, come flying out onto the top of the stairs, and literally bump into this lovely young girl. Oh, I say, stopping short, and she smiles at me, and she just smiles at me. I said, so now you're the reason then that I'm working on my day off, is that right? And she laughed and chuckled. She ran down the stairs in front of me, and by the time I got down the stairs and into my study, there she was, standing between her parents. And I go in, I say hello to them. They don't look up at me. They will not look at me. They are not giving me eye contact, and they grunt. So knowing the backstory, you can understand why, but I was a bit confused. I'm thinking, all right then. So, all right. So I know why we're here, because this little girl was, she was probably about 11 years old. And she was lovely. She was so lovely and happy and excited and standing between the two of them. And so I sit down and I explain what I'm going to try to do. I don't know if they've ever been anywhere before, to see anybody else before. I don't know why they're not looking at me. I don't know why they're not speaking to me. They're barely speaking to each other. And there's this sort of odd atmosphere in the room, because they obviously are so afraid to give me any little piece of information. And the only reason they've come to see me, apparently, is because they've been told by other people in their town, you have to go and see her. This is the woman that you have to go and see. All right, so here we are. So I explain what I'm going to do, and I ask them, do they understand? And again, they deliberately do not look at me. They keep their head down, yes. And I say, okay then. So I said, all right. So the first thing I have to tell you, and please let me know if you don't understand what I'm going to say to you, but I have this lovely little girl standing between the two of you. I describe her in detail. And I say, she tells me that she was killed on her bike in a road accident. A guy came trundling down the road in his car and literally dragged her halfway down the road. And now they're looking at me. Now they're looking at me with wide eyes, and they're thinking, obviously, to themselves, how could she possibly know this? Because of course I couldn't, could I? So the rest of the consultation, once they realized that I was real, they started to warm up a little bit. They were holding hands. They were very emotional, and we had a fantastic consultation with their daughter Louise, who she was lovely and bright as a button, very smart, and she wanted to talk about her sister, who was still with us, and her sister had been born with cerebral palsy. And she also, aside from the cerebral palsy, had lots of other issues. And so at some point, Louise said to her parents, you have to do something about her diet. And they're looking at each other and so on. And I'm saying to Louise, can you explain? And she said, yes, she said she's allergic to lots of food. And so I'm talking to Gregor. I'm looking at Gregor, and Gregor is saying, that's right, she's allergic to this and so on and so forth, which is causing her to have fits. It's causing her to have all of these awful mood swings. It's causing, a lot of difficulties for this girl, because she has a lot of allergies. So aside from the cerebral palsy, she had other things going on as well. But because, often when, especially children, often if they have a particular issue or a particular disease or a particular illness, we tend to sort of have tunnel vision, and we're sort of, looking at that particular illness. But it's possible, of course, with all of us, that we might have a cold, but we also might have stomach ache. We might have, we might have skin issues. Lots of things that can be going on with us at the same time. And anyway, this was what was going on with this Louise's sister. All right, so now they know that I'm real. Now they're having a completely different experience. And now I'm not asking them, so tell me all about it and tell me what happened. I am telling them. Louise, their daughter, is telling them about what happened to her, and the incredible, the smallest details, which those in the spirit world do like to give to us, and they do like to tell us. So, okay, the consultation comes to an end, and now I've got, it happened that his name was John. Now I've got John and Sue, his wife, who are laughing and crying all at the same time. They are totally on board with me. They can see that I'm real, because, out of the blue, these people could have come from anywhere. They could have come from any town or city. There's no way that I could have possibly checked on them. And so they were, absolutely thrilled that finally, their daughter had made it through to talk to them, but in a way that they understood that she was really there, and she was really there for them. So now there is more to the story. So now John and Sue come back to me a few more times, and the next time they come back to me, John calls me. He says, you know, can you help us with this diet? And it happened that there was, I don't know if he's still there, there was in England, in a northern town, there was a man whose name is Dr. Mumby. I don't know if he's still alive, I'm hoping so. And Dr. Mumby had a clinic, and this clinic was specifically for people who have allergies. And I said to them, why don't you call him, see if you can get an appointment, tell him what's going on with your daughter and see if you can get an appointment, which is what they did. It turns out that Louise's sister was allergic to all sorts of things. They followed his regimen. The fits eventually stopped. The other issues eventually stopped. This little girl was much happier. She was much brighter. You know, it was a weird thing. We would have never guessed it, would we? We would have never understood that it wasn't the cerebral palsy. We would have never understood had it not been for her sister in the spirit world giving us this information, had it not been for Gregor saying to me, yes, she happens to be allergic. And it turned out she was allergic to wheat, and she was allergic to one or two other things as well, which she was having in a daily diet. But it was really amazing. All right, so they then worked on sorting out their daughter, and they then became students of mine. And then after, maybe perhaps another 3 or 4 years went by, you know, their daughters, Louise was 11, the other daughter was, I think, maybe a year or two younger. I think they thought they'd finished having babies. And I'm pleased to say for John and Sue, of course, Louise will always be their bright child. And she was intelligent, she was smart, she was good at school. She was a happy little girl. It turns out that they weren't done having babies, and since then they've had 3 more. And so is it a happy story? It's a very sad story, but it does have a happy ending. They will always, always treasure Louise, and she will always be in their lives, and she will certainly be the angel to their other children. But it's always nice, you know, when I see people and I talk to them and I see that they've had a tragedy, I love to keep abreast of what's going on with them, and I love to know, you know, what happens in the future, because they come to see me and they walk away usually happy, understanding that their loved ones are in the spirit world, but there's so often much more to the tale than what I can see or what we see when we first see somebody like this. So it is really good to have that feedback, and it is really good to know. And I do get lots of letters from people saying, I came to see you 20 years ago and this is what happened to me, and I came to see you, you know, this time. And people are writing to me telling me of their stories with me. So if you're listening and you've been to see me for a consultation and you have a follow-up story, or you just want to remind me of the story that is your story that you wouldn't mind if I share, it is story time after all. And I think people do become really inspired by listening to other people's stories, and by knowing that, you know, be cautious, be careful who you go to see. Like John and Sue, they had the most disappointing experience. Just because somebody is famous does not mean they're real. Just because somebody is in a little tiny backwater village does not mean that they're not real. Just because, you know, people have never heard of a person does not mean that they're real or not real. And the only way that you can make sure that when you go to see somebody like me, when you really go to see somebody who you really want to talk to those in the spirit world, you want to talk to your loved ones in the spirit world, don't give out too much information, please. You know, be a little bit circumspect. Don't be afraid to be critical. Be open-minded, but be skeptical. And as I do always, if something doesn't work, this is what I always say to people before they come to see me for a consultation. If it doesn't work, we have two choices. The first one is I will refund your money. Now, even if I spend a couple of hours with a person and I feel that the consult hasn't gone well, or there's something about it that didn't quite work, I'm happy to refund your money, because it's my choice to spend 2 hours with you, first of all. But you're not paying me for my time, I feel. You're paying me, for something special. And if I can't give it to you, then I'm happy to give you your money back. Or I will say to them, or we'll just keep trying again and again for as long as it takes. I won't charge you anymore. You're not going to pay me for the next consult, the next consult, the next consult. You're not going to do that. We'll just keep trying until it does work, or until you say to me or I say to you, this is just not working and I don't know why. Luckily, keeping my fingers crossed, never had that issue, never had that problem. But sometimes it does take once or twice or 3 times even before someone in the spirit world is able to connect in a way that we would really like them to. So be circumspect. Be circumspect. Make sure that you don't give out too much information. I will tell you another story another Saturday about understanding why John and Sue would not look at me in that room, because I can remember years ago, the very first time ever that I had an experience with somebody else giving me a message. The only thing I could think of was, as I sat in front of this lady, don't look at her. Don't let her read you. Don't let her see your face. Don't let her see your expressions. Don't look at her. Don't look at her. Don't look at her. So when people come to see me and they look down and they don't, I always have a chuckle, because I know exactly what they're doing. They don't want me to read what's in their faces or somehow in their mind. So, but don't worry, because if somebody is real, that's actually not what we do. We talk to those in the spirit world and they give us the information. Otherwise, what's the point? I hope you like this story. Michelle, did you like that story today?
I did like that story.
So, yes, you can read the story in The Eagle and the Rose. It's there. I think the story is called Louise. And I thought I'd give you a little bit of extra to let you know that John and Sue had 3 more little ones, and were very, very, the last time I heard, were very happy, very content, and very excited that they've got these new babies and a new family. The new family, of course, can never replace Louise. That's not what it's about. Sort of like, when you have a dog and then the dog dies and you get another dog. You don't get a dog to replace. You get a dog because you just love dogs. John and Louise obviously love children. They love their children, and we wish them well. And I also wish Louise, who I just caught a very brief glimpse of, I haven't seen her for years and years, just caught a very brief glimpse of this lovely girl, sending love to John and Sue. That's it. All right. Comments, questions, anything going on, Michelle? Michelle is sitting on the floor in front of me, so all right, let's go for it. Do we have? Well, I know we do have stuff, because I keep seeing stuff coming up here all the time. We seem to have an awful lot of comments.
Kara's on. She said, good morning from Edmonton, Alberta.
Good morning.
Mitchell says, good morning, Rosemary. You have Robbie that says,
good morning, Mitchell.
Namaste from India.
Hold on a second. Is that Mitchell from Australia, we think? So, hi, Mitchell. Sorry, who was it from? What? Sorry.
Robbie.
Robbie.
Namaste from India.
Oh, namaste. I should do this, right? Sorry. Yes. Namaste. Yeah. Nice to have you from India. Yeah, keep going.
Good morning from Pennsylvania. That was Joanne. Reese is watching.
Mwah. Hi, my darling boy. They're having a party today. They're having a 4th of July party today in New York City.
Maggie said good morning.
Good
she
morning,
was a little
Maggie.
late coming in. She was watching Moon Pie Starbucks
Okay.
with my grandson on YouTube. It's a little talking documentary.
Oh, well, guess what?
Hilarious.
If you're with your grandson, Maggie, I can definitely appreciate that.
Johan's on. He said, hello. People should only say yes, no, or maybe
I'm sorry, what?
when having a consultation.
Oh, well, you know, I will address that, I think, next. Maybe I'll address it now. Here's the thing, that, yes, you're absolutely right, Johan. However, once the consultation does get going and people understand that the medium actually does know what they're doing, there's a time when the medium will say, once she's comfortable with the fact that they have really good rapport and so on, then they can say a little more, like, I don't understand that, Rosemary, that works, or yes, that's right, that works. Here is the sort of a quandary that we have, because when people come to me for a consultation and I'm connecting with their loved ones in the spirit world, you have to remember that these people in the spirit world are strangers to me. Absolute utter strangers. As far as I know, I've never seen them before, unless it's a repeat consult, of course. But as far as I know, I've never seen them before. They don't know me. I'm a total stranger to them. Why should they tell me their story? Why should they talk to me? Well, one reason is because it's the only way they're going to get through to the person who's sitting with me. However, I do like people to say yes nicely and clearly, or no, absolutely no, or I'm not sure, or whatever it is. I like people to verbalize those things, because those people in the spirit world, they know you. They know you much better than they know me. And so they will connect with your voice vibration much better, much clearer than they will connect with mine. So when we're connecting with the spirit world and we're trying to connect and trying to find that vibrational level so we can have a conversation, sometimes it's a little bit like this, it misses. But what we're trying to do and what we're trying to encourage with that vibration, we're trying to get it so that it's like this. So we have that connection. So when people in the spirit world hear your voice, even if you're right, Johan, even if it is a yes or a no or maybe whatever it is, they connect with your vibration. They know you. They know absolutely that, you know, that you're understanding what they're saying. People sometimes are so amazed and so stunned with what you're saying to them. They sit there and they just nod. And I have to say to people, don't nod, say yes or no. Don't nod at me. And I can understand why people do sort of get a little bit overwhelmed by it. But the more they can connect with your vibration, the more inclined they are to talk to me. And also another thing is, if you don't say yes or no, they don't know. Those in the spirit world don't know if they're getting through to you. And if you don't, you say, I love it when this happens. I love it when, you know, they've come for a consultation. I'm talking to someone in the spirit world who tells me something or another, and the person says no. And the people in the spirit world say yes. And they say no, and you say yes. And I love that, because that means, ooh, I've got some work to do. I've got a little argument going on here. So I say to those in the spirit world, can you help to make it clearer what it is you're saying? Can you make it better for me so that we can understand? And usually they do. And then the person will say, oh, you're right. You're right. Yes, I do understand now. So it's good to have that rapport, but please do be careful. And especially prior to coming to see somebody like me, do be very, very circumspect. Be very careful what you say and what you tell people. Okay, that's it. Keep going. Michelle.
Okay, the next one. Marika?
Marika?
She would like to know if you can recommend someone in Belgium.
I'm awfully sorry, but I don't think that I can. But, you know, we have consultations all over the world, right, Michelle?
Yes,
we have Mitchell, a friend of mine, but he came to me for a consultation. We do Skype, FaceTime, Messenger, Facebook, lots of it. Zoom, we do all sorts of. There are so many different mediums now that it's sort of when people come to me, which mostly people now do. I mean, at one time it used to be people would have to come and visit me, and people do come and visit me from all over the world, by the way. But now there's no need. If you can connect, via, look what we're doing here. We're streaming, so we're connecting all over the world. And there are lots of ways to do this. And it is a little bit like you're actually in somebody's living room. So when you come to talk to me, whether it's whatever medium you use, FaceTime or Skype or Messenger, whatever it is that you use, it really is like being in somebody's living room. So, unfortunately, I'm so sorry, I cannot recommend another medium, but hey, I'm here. But you have to email me if you want a consultation with me, if you want to do more of this stuff, if you want to know more about this stuff, please email me, rosemary@rosemaryantair.com, and we shall absolutely, Michelle here will let you know. If you want healing, make sure that you put healing in the subject line. If you want a consultation, again, put consultation in the subject line. If you want to be on our mailing list so that you know what we're doing and when we're doing it and how we're doing it, because we're actually working now on doing some online exciting stuff. If you want to be on our mailing list, you must request it, because if you send us an email, that does not mean you're automatically on our mailing list. We don't do that. You will get an email from us maybe 4 or 5 times a week. A month, not a week, a month. We don't keep sending out emails. We will not bother you. We do not ply you with, we're selling this, we're selling that. All we're doing is notifications through email. So please don't get worried about that. But if you do want to be on our mailing list, please, you must request it. And also you can email me about the books and the guided meditations that we do, which are they out yet, Michelle? I mean, I'm not sure if the guided meditations should be out. So you should be able to find now on, Amazon and all of those, iTunes, all of those places you find these things. You should be able to find A Journey Towards Healing. You should be able to find The Garden of Souls. And the others. Yeah. Email me. We'll send you the list.
And we have CDs available too if people need them. And
yes, if you want a hard copy CD, we do CDs, and we have books, and we can, if you want a book that's that's signed, please email us. We'll either have it here and we shall send it to you, or we'll tell you exactly where to find it. Our new book, A Walk in the Clouds, is one of those. We'll show you exactly how to find that too, and we can sign them for you too. All right, so Michelle.
Dean said, I went to Rosemary 14 years ago out of desperation and used the last of my money I had to talk to her. She changed my whole life, and I haven't looked back since then.
Oh, Dean, thank you so much, my darling, for that. I think it's fair to say, Dean, that you had one of those aha moments, which I know that you really, really use. You can get the best advice from whoever. If you go to a doctor, they can give you the best advice on, dieting or health issues. You can come to somebody like me, you can get the best advice. However, it's your choice whether you take it and use it and run with it, or whether you completely ignore it, right? Dean is one of those who listened, and I think it's fair to say that he was so shocked by his consultation and so in awe by his consultation. I don't think he had a choice but to move forward with it, did you, Dean? But kudos to you, because you did take that advice and you did turn your life around. I was just the instrument that helped you to do that, but you're the one who did it. Okay,
this comment is going to be from YouTube.
Go for it.
And it's from Karat.
Okay.
It says, hi, my name is Karat from Bangkok.
Hi, darling.
I wondered if you can give me any messages from my dad. He passed away 2.5 years ago.
Oh, well, we don't usually what we do here, but oops, Grey Eagle has his hand on my shoulder, so I'm unfortunately the only thing I can say to you is just a sort of little bit of information, because it's, you know, for a real consultation to sort of really understand that you have these messages and that they're really, really clear, then you do need to spend a little bit more time, and there needs to be more detail. But I will absolutely tell you that Grey Eagle is telling me he's, first of all, he's safe, and learning and growing, and I'm feeling, as I'm talking to you, my lovely, I'm feeling so much love coming your way. Now, I know it's easy to say it, and I just told you all, be skeptical, be open-minded, but be skeptical. So, you know, I can tell you that, and I truly believe it, but please be skeptical, and don't just believe it just because I said so, please. All right. But I think he's there with you, and I think he's sending his, well, I know he's sending his love, so there you go. All right. Bangkok, I'm just thinking, have I been to Bangkok? I think I might have been to Bangkok. I've been all over the world. I've forgotten half the places that I've been to. Keep going, Michelle.
The next one was from Nan.
Hi, Nan.
And it says, how do you feel about what's going on in our world today?
Sad. I do feel very sad, Nan. But here's what I'm going to say to you, which Grey Eagle said to me a long time ago. And you all know now, well, many of you know, I am working on my next book, which is Grey Eagle Speaks. And boy, does he ever speak. And he speaks on so many subjects and so many topics. It's one of those books my agent years ago, when I first gave her this book to read, when I first started, because, you know, Grey Eagle talks to me. A lot of people have helped me with this book. A lot of people have given questions to Grey Eagle on different topics. What does Grey Eagle think about this, and so on and so forth. And so we have some great questions, and he gives great answers. But the thing that strikes me about what he says the most, and yes, the book will be out as soon as I've finished working on it. We'll let you know. If you're on our email list, we'll definitely let you know. But what he says that is, to me, it's such a naive thing to say, and people think that if you're naive, there's no strength in that. You know, people think that violence is the way to go, or meanness is the way to go, or intolerance. I mean, so much intolerance in this world today. It's so sad. But this is what my guide will say to all of you out there, and he will say, as he said to me many times, your world needs gentleness. So whatever anybody else is doing, whatever anybody else is thinking, whatever anybody else is saying, can we who hear this and who hear Grey Eagle's words, can we just simply, because we can't change the world and we can't change other people. What we can do is, by our own example, show other people how perhaps it's best to live, and to show our gentleness and our love and our tolerance. Thank you, Nan, for that question, though. Yeah.
Elaine says, hello, Rosemary.
Hi, Elaine.
I love your stories, read your books, and was so lucky to receive a reading in November of 2004 in England. I can't explain in words how grateful I still am and carry it in my heart.
Oh.
Love, Elaine from Holland.
Oh, Elaine, thank you. So, I think I do remember. Can you write to us, my darling, and tell us, I'm getting all emotional here, can you write to us and tell us that story? Because if it's a good story, I'd love to share it, if you don't mind. Thank you, though. Thank you very much for that. Keep going, Michelle. We got so many people from all over the world. This is so exciting.
Maggie would like to know what your take is on this dream that she had. She says, I don't know. I know you don't do dreams.
I don't,
but I had
Maggie.
a very vivid dream of a large brown bear, very gentle, and when I reached out, I could feel his hair, and the bear stayed close to me when I walked. Bears are said to be special if they come to you.
Well, let me say this to you. I know that I was talking to my students on Thursday. I got them a little bit excited because there is a way that we can find our power symbols. And there's a way that we can find our power animals. Now, our power symbols and our power animals don't necessarily give us power. They remind us. They are there to encourage us and to remind us of the power that we have, the power that we own within us. And my power symbol is, you might know, an eagle's feather. And I remember once I was in a TV studio in a dark room with a blindfold on and earmuffs over my head, so I couldn't possibly see or hear what was going on in the main studio, while they were talking about me and they were talking about people's stories in the studio. And then finally, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, I really hope I can do this. I really hope I can do this for the people in the audience out there. And I got a little bit nervous. I mean, I'm only human, you know. I got a little bit nervous and I'm thinking, you know, I just want to do the very best I can for all the people who have come from not only different parts of the country, but I know also from other parts of the world, because people do travel to see someone like myself, and you just want to be able to just give them something. So I was pondering this, and I was getting a bit nervous that, you know, I'm saying to Gregor, please, please, please help me. Let me do the best I can. And the next thing, right in front of me, is the most enormous. It had to have been several feet high, and goodness knows how wide, was an eagle's feather, sort of presented right to me. And that is my power symbol. And I did laugh because, of course, it doesn't give me power. Our power symbols and our power animals don't give us power, but they remind us of the power that we have. Maybe Maggie should take a look at, see if perhaps the bear is your power animal. Wouldn't that be nice? And yes, bears are very powerful in the Native American culture. They do mean a great deal. Let's keep going.
All right, the next one is from Marika, and she says, can a child lost in the womb at 11 weeks be with you? Can you please answer this question? Thank you so much.
Yes, my darling Marika. Oh boy. You know, so I'll bare my soul a little. Some of you who know me and have listened to me before know that I have lost a few children prior to birth, and finally managed to have my daughter. She's my miracle child. I should not have had a baby. It was not possible. Lots of different issues. But then I also had another 2 or 3 miscarriages after I'd had her. So, all right. So, yes. Sometimes, let me try if I can to explain this to you. Sometimes a soul will decide that they want the experience of the womb, but they don't necessarily want the experience of the world. They might want the experience of the womb because they want to know what it feels like, or what the soul can gain from having that connection to another human being. Usually that other human being, that woman who's who the soul has decided to connect with in this way, can give them something, can teach them something, can share an energy that they need to help them to grow and to learn, but not necessarily in this world. So as hard and as tough as it is to have lost a child, I've spoken to many children in the spirit world who have had that connection and that love, that particular energy that they gained from being in the womb, but they've chosen for that experience to be just for a short time. Other souls choose to actually go all the way through that experience of being in the womb and actually being born and being able to take a first breath, having the experience of the world, but only for a moment or just for a very short time. It's a complicated issue. We'll talk about it perhaps another time. But yes, my darling, I do hope that this should make you feel good. I know that it's devastating. Personally, I know that on a personal level, but it is devastating to lose a child. But if you can understand that you were actually chosen, I know it doesn't help the pain go away. I know it's tough, it's hard, but if you can appreciate that you were chosen for this for a reason, your energy must be lovely. It must be what that beautiful, beautiful little soul has chosen to connect to, and it will always be connected to you. Let's move on.
Roxana.
Hi, Roxanne.
said, I lost my second child in labor. That's already 18 years ago. I wasn't able to process the grief, and then I had breast cancer 3 years ago. Now I get a lot of things, obviously, and keep working on me. But I've been having dreams lately with a baby. And then the last dream I had, it did click, and I felt the baby was my Pamela. Can you see if it's really her and if she's okay and is ready to show herself?
I absolutely know. But I don't think that Pamela is a baby anymore. I think she's grown and she's a beautiful young woman, and I think you're absolutely right. And I don't think it's that she's ready to show herself, Roxanne. I think it's that you're ready to see her and you're ready to connect to her, because those we love who are in the spirit world, they are always ready. And sometimes, they stand in front of us and, to try to connect with us. But if we're not ready, or we're not, perhaps we've closed off, or we don't know how to be ready, then we don't see them. Doesn't mean they're not there. It's that we don't see them. I often look at the spirit world as if those in the spirit world are standing, it's almost as if they're standing behind a plate glass window, knocking on the window, shouting at us, trying to get hold of us, trying to connect to us, trying to let us know that they're there, that's all, and trying to give us comfort. We're not lost, we didn't die. This is what they're trying to say to us. But they're, they're sort of like, we're not looking, or we don't see, or we, for whatever reason, we don't know how to see. I like to think that I'm a vandal in this case. I go around breaking windows, and I let people in, and I don't allow the spirit world to have those barriers. I refuse to put barriers up. But sometimes we don't even know we're doing it. We don't know how to stop it. But I'm sure that Pamela is very much with you, and I think, Roxanne, that you're perhaps ready to connect with her right now. Yay! That's so exciting. All right, keep going.
Pharma's on.
Who?
Pharma.
Okay.
And it says, I believe what it says is it possible for you to talk with me, or do you know a medium like you in Italy?
Well, I just said we just did have that question from somebody else in Belgium, and there are such things as FaceTime and Skype and all of those things. So yes, if you'd like a consultation with me, please email me, rosemary@rosemaryantaltair.com. However, if you do not speak English, I can't help you, because I might be able to speak a little Italian or a little German or a little French or whatever it is, but not enough. So you might need, might think about getting an interpreter to come with you who can, and it works very well. We've done it many times, but unfortunately, I don't know anyone. I'm sorry to say. Sorry. Keep going.
Anne Marie said, Rosemary, you rock. Is your forte for me, helping me figure out my situation and not so much connecting me to my family and spirit. Although we become who we are to an extent because of our family.
So was there a question in there?
There was all the question, except for the you rock part.
Thank you. I didn't quite get what the question is.
I believe she's asking if you could help her get through her situation she's dealing with instead of connecting with her family.
Yes.
Not that she doesn't want to connect with her family. She wants to get through these other things first.
Lots of people call for consultations, and they want to know about their life's path, their life's plan. They want to know about their future. They want to know lots of things. All right, so if you don't particularly want to get in touch with your family in the spirit world, we don't have to do that. But I always work with Grey Eagle, and Grey Eagle always sees, because he just is so knowing and loving and caring. So of course we do that too. Not everybody calls me because they want, or even that they have someone in the spirit world. Sometimes somebody will pop in anyway and surprise us. but Grey Eagle is right there. And yes, absolutely, we can certainly do those things as well. We talk about, life issues and what's going on today and the issues and the problems. In fact, so many people who I know, who are my friends with, if they're having issues, they're called up. And my daughter is always, what does Grey Eagle say about this? Can you tell me this is going to happen? And we do our very best. Keep going.
All right, the next one is
And thank you for saying I rock. That's so nice, I think.
The next one is from Bella.
Morning, Bella.
And it says, hello, Rosemary. I'm recalling our beautiful dinner at Bill's where you taught us so much about the spirit world and Grey Eagle gave us a message. You spoke about parking spots recently, and every time I am looking for a parking spot, I call upon Grey Eagle. I find feathers at times when I need confirmation on important things in my life. Reading The Eagle and the Rose again, and would love to do classes with you and have another reading.
Well, Bella, I'll be coming to New York soon, so watch out for that. And I'd love to see you and Bill again, and just to go to dinner would be really nice, or just to hang out or something. So, but that's so nice of you. And if you want a consultation, email me, rosemary@rosemaryautair.com. But I'm coming to New York, so hey, we should get together anyway. It'd be lovely to see you both. Bill is my angel. He's my rain angel. He provided me the umbrella when it was pouring with rain. Right, keep going.
Johan said, can you explain to me, I was with my lawyer and suddenly I went into a trance. And the lawyer knew I was a medium and he took notes every time.
Okay. He
calls himself Adam and explained universal law. But why does this happen to me?
I'm not sure, Johan. I've never, ever, that has never happened to me, that I've got into a trance when I'm talking to a lawyer. I have to be on my toes. We all have to be on our toes. I'm not sure, my darling. Perhaps you need to be very careful, because when a medium goes into a trance state, it can be quite dangerous if you're not in a situation where you're safe, or if the person who knows you doesn't know what to do when you're in that trance state. Because if a medium goes into there's various stages of trance, and if a medium goes into a deep trance state, you should not ever try to bring them out of it. Unless you know what you're doing, you do it very carefully and very gently. So do be careful, my lovely. Take good care, and maybe you should be talking to those who you work with in the spirit world and say, no. Let's do this in controlled circumstances. Try that, my love. Keep going.
A little background on Johan.
Yeah.
He was the one a couple of years ago that you offered that 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it was you offered him. And he was the one that emailed us not that long ago about it.
Okay. Well, okay. Good. Well, you know where I am. Email me.
Ivy says, hi from Ivy.
Hi, Ivy, again. We were talking, were your ears burning, Ivy? We were talking about you this morning.
She says, I did your meditation and saw the blue pearl. What does that mean?
Oh, that's fabulous. Keep going. It's just fabulous. You're using a journey towards healing, I think. So just keep going. Just keep going. Stay open and keep going. That blue. Ooh, nice. Yes.
Okay.
Everybody's wondering what I'm talking about, but Ivy, you should know what I'm talking about. Keep going.
Isa.
Good morning, Isa.
Hi, Rosemary. It's been a while since the last time I accessed these live sessions. So kind of you to continue to do this. Really generous of you, and I love your necklace as always.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
And he says, I'm at a crossroads in my life, and I need to make some difficult decisions and really need some guidance. Your advice would be helpful.
Okay, here is my advice. And I'm listening to Grey Eagle, as I'm sure you all know. So my advice to you is, and it's so simple and easy. It's so easy to say it, not so easy to do it, but you need to follow your heart. I actually, from what Grey Eagle is telling me, you have a tendency to try to please there's another person in your life who you try to please, which often means that you put your own feelings and your own wants and needs to one side to try to sort of to make compromises. In this particular case, I feel that you should be paying attention to yourself and being selfish with yourself, and do what feels that is right in your heart to do, my love. Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is from Jamie.
Morning, Jamie.
She says, "Hi, Rosemary. I was wondering how someone would go about becoming one of your students. Also, do you have it online or in person? And I'd love to find out more."
Yeah, if you want to become one of my students, you need to email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. We do have a list of people wanting to be students. We do online courses. We actually use Zoom. We're also going to be doing some sort of online, what are they called? I never remember. Conferences, online conferences, workshops, whatever. We're planning, hopefully, to get one going sometime in perhaps towards the end of October or so. Again, if you're on my email list, and please you must request to be on the email list, otherwise we won't put you on. We'll let you know what's going on and what's happening and how we do that. So if you want to be, sort of join one of our conferences, that's a great way to be. That's a great way to learn also. So just email us and tell us what you want or what information you want to Michelle, our little Michelle here. We'll do our very best to accommodate you because she's lovely. Keep going.
All right, the next one is from Bob.
Morning, Bob.
He says, "Rosemary, this is Bob Bicknell."
And we'll took the words out of my mouth, my lovely. Are you still in Florida? Where are you? You disappeared.
He says, "We'll be down to see you more next winter as sister and her husband are retiring to Inglewood. I remember the day we went for the ride to Inglewood and you shared all about the area as well. Yeah. Say hello to Grey Eagle for me as well. Many blessings and much love."
Oh, that's lovely, Bob. And so, right. Maybe I'll get to meet your sister then. And we'll talk more about, no, we don't want to talk more about Englewood. But anyway, thanks, Bob.
All right. This one is from Magdalena.
Morning, Magdalena. Yeah.
"Dear Rosemary,
yes,
a very dear person to me is in an abusive relationship and afraid of therapy or change. It is challenging for me to be witness to her process. Can you offer some comfort? Thank you."
Well, Magdalena, I think you're lovely that you should, that you should care about this person so much. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you found out, you can only stand by and be supportive when they need it, because the only person who can change this whole relationship, this abusive relationship, is her. She needs to change herself. She needs to change her attitude. She needs to find the courage to do this. And it's so hard for people to do that, to find that courage. Unfortunately, as friends, if you start to interfere or get in the way, you can only make it worse. And if you're a person we do it out of love, don't we? We lecture. Why are you putting up with this? You need to leave this relationship. Get out. Do something. But it just makes that person perhaps pull away from us more. So just be supportive. Whatever you need, I'm there for you. Whenever you're ready, I'll be there for you. Unfortunately, that's all we can do, except we can send out prayers, our healing prayers, and keep our fingers crossed that the situation improves. There's also, and this is probably not true of your friend, but there are also people who actually love the drama of being in abusive relationships, and there's not a thing we can do about that to change it. It's the persons who are in that relationship are the ones who need to make those changes. All right.
Okay, so the next one is from Cheryl.
Morning, Cheryl.
And she says, "Hello, Rosemary. I met you 14 years ago in Vermont after losing my husband. You brought so much comfort to me, and each time I get to listen to you, you are still bringing comfort."
Oh, Cheryl, that's so nice of you to say that. And maybe you could write and tell me about the story, and then perhaps I could share it with other people, because, you know, the people who, thank you for saying that, and thank you for writing in. And for watching, actually. But, you know, there are so many people who haven't had that experience, whether it's with me or some other medium. They haven't had that experience. They either perhaps are nervous about it, or they don't know anyone to go to, or, you know, people don't realize we've already had 2 calls from people from different countries saying, how can we find a medium in our country? You don't need to find somebody in your own country if you you know, work with somebody like myself. But there are so many people who, for whatever reason, either can't afford it, or they, you know, for some reason that it doesn't work for them. But listening to other people's stories is a real comfort to them, and it brings them real comfort, even though they're perhaps not brave enough to do it for themselves. So, Cheryl, maybe you could write and remind me, tell me the story, and I can share it. All right.
Betta is on, and she says, "Hi, Rosemary."
Better?
Betta, Betta.
Better. Okay. Good morning.
Hi, Rosemary. A few weeks ago, you told me that there was an elderly lady next to me with a funny laugh. I think she's my grandmother's sister, Victoria. Is she? Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Yeah. Okay, yes. Good job. You found it, did you? Good. Yes.
And then she said, it's since a long time now that my husband doesn't work. What can you see for the future? He's depressed and I don't know how to help him.
You can only be there to support him, to help him, and to guide him. And I think unfortunately, there's so many people right now who are in the same situation. You know, tell him to just support him, and just remind him that, I was talking about this the other day, I think, on our Thursday morning show, which is the Spirit World Sees All show. And it's amazing, actually. You know, I look back on my life and I see those times when I think there's no hope and everything's destitute. We're going to be out on the street and etc. Somehow, something always comes along. And I think it was last week I told us this last Thursday, if you want to go to YouTube, you can find it. And I told a story about when I was in the post office with no money whatsoever, and ended up pushing my check for my social services check through the window, and said to the woman, pay this electricity bill. And I wanted to take it back as soon as I did it, because I couldn't feed my daughter. Somehow or another, things happen when it's never quite as bad as we think it's going to be, even as bad as it gets. So have a little faith. I know it's easy to say it, but have a little faith, my love. Keep going.
Agnes is on.
Good morning, Agnes.
She's from the Netherlands.
Yep.
And she says, my Irish boyfriend and me are since July in a complicated situation. He should be here now for 10 days. Corona rules defend him to come. He still has issues to work out. Is he my Mr. Right?
Oh, don't ask me that. I don't know. I'd have to know a little bit more about it. But I would say that if you're having doubts, then be cautious, be careful. You know, this is why, I wrote the book Soul Signs. Now, I didn't write it for any other reason than that it's an amazing book, and it's all about how different souls, different soul types, different types of energy, different people with different energies are either compatible or not compatible, and so on. And this book has helped so many people in relationships that it's amazing. So maybe you should have a little peek at Soul Signs, my lovely, and that might help you also. But when you start off a conversation, my boyfriend and I, or my girlfriend and I, or I'm in a relationship with such and such, and he has or she has issues, the warning flags do go up a little bit. So do be cautious, please. Yep.
Ivy said yes, she was doing a journey towards healing. I did have the feeling and heard you both today. I have more fab ideas, and I'm trying to call you. Sending love and healing thanks.
Well, you'll never get me if you try to call me, Ivy. Just email and let Michelle know what you want. Again, I'll say the email is rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com.
Jamie said, thank you so much. I would love that. Sending lots of love your way. Roxana said, oh, how do we get to know our animal of power?
Yes, well, you have to join my classes, or you have to come to one of my workshops, because we will be doing a workshop about finding our power animals and our power symbols. Absolutely, we should be doing that. So watch for it. If you're on my emailing list, we shall let you know. Keep going.
All right, here's our
how are we doing?
Last
because
comment of the day.
Okay, because we are unfortunately over time. We're loving every minute of it, but yes.
The last comment of the day is from Jane.
Hi, Jane.
And it says, hi, Rosemary. Sending love from a damp and wild Cornwall with big heart.
Well, I like that comment. Is it damp and cold? I love Cornwall. It's been years and years and years since I went to Cornwall. I've got some great stories about Cornwall also. But are you on vacation there? I remember going on vacation to Cornwall when my daughter was a little girl. And we went to Cornwall, and we were camping. We took a tent, and we managed to get the tent up. But in the middle of the night, I couldn't find my daughter. She'd slid through somehow in the opening of the tent, and her feet were on the outside. Her legs were on the outside of the tent, and her body was on the inside of the tent. She was sound asleep, so it couldn't have been so bad. We had to put these big boulders all around the outside of the tent. Yes, you can't imagine me doing this, can you? I know this because I'm such a princess. I don't do these things. And I have to tell you, I never go camping again. That was the very last time I ever went. But we did actually pack the tent up the next day, and we went back home. So much for that vacation. So when you're saying, my lovely, that it's cold and windy in Cornwall, it reminds me very much of that. But it is the most beautiful place. It's gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. I remember going with my daddy, standing on the cliffs of Cornwall and fishing. There we have it. Anything else? I mean, there are lots and lots.
There's lots and lots, but there's a lot of hellos and thank yous, and it's, well, we love to read those comments. We really want to get some of the ones that have content out so that we can make sure that we're answering the questions we can.
We do try to answer as much as we can. If we didn't get to your question today, then I shall be back next Saturday, you know. We should be streaming that. Are we excited?
Thursday.
Are we excited?
Yes.
We're excited we've got this streaming now going on. I mean, I'm so excited about that. We should be doing that next Saturday. There'll be another story.
We'll be streaming Thursday for the Spirit
And
World.
also we should be streaming again on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And we have the winners.
We do have the winners of the competition. We probably thought we would never get around to doing it, but we do have the winners of the competition, and we should be announcing those on Thursday morning. So, all right, so it's 11 a.m. on Thursday mornings. We have our show, The Spirit World Sees All, and you can find that because we're streaming. Gardner just came. He did this last week, so you can find us on my main Facebook page. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube, all at the same time. We don't have to upload and download. And pardon?
I said, and you can follow us on Instagram.
You can follow us on Instagram.
Little healings and words telling you where we're going to be.
Yeah, I go onto Instagram as much as I can. So yes, don't forget that. We're going to be looking to see where else we can go too. If you have enjoyed this show, would you please, my loves, would you share, send it out to your Facebook friends or whoever it is, but share, let people know, so that we can, you know, gather as many people together, because I do feel that it's so helpful that people hear these stories, and it hopefully I'm doing a lot to inspire and give give you hope and inspiration. That's what I'm hoping for. So we shall see you on Thursday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our The Spirit World Sees All, where it's mostly questions and answers. So, hey, get going on that. And we shall see you next Saturday, again, live on our Story Time with Rosemary. Again, share, let people know as much as you can. If you have a story that you would like me to share, please let me know. Email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltair.com. If you have had an experience with me and a story with me, I know that 3 or 4 people have actually mentioned that today. Please email that to us, because I love to know anyway what's happened later, as our story today was, and what happened after that story, because I don't always put that in the books, and so if you'd allow me to share, if you just say you may share this, that would be wonderful, and then I have permission to share your story. And again, it gives people hope and inspiration. All right, that's it for today. We have gone over time. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed it. I've no idea. Oh yes, I do. I was thinking, how am I going to switch this off? All right, and I see it. So Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please, 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 in the meantime, Reese, my darling boy, I love you, I love you, I love you. I don't know if you're still watching, but I love you, I love you, I love you anyway. For all of you out there, I do love you. Thank you so much for being my fans. Thank you so much for joining in with me. I love the fact that you just come along and just want to share with me all of this stuff that we do. Please, please, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day. And everyone, it is 4th of July here in America. Be careful with your fireworks. I personally am not celebrating. I'm British anyway, but they threw the British in the pond. No, they threw the tea bags in the pond. That's right. So anyway, please, all of you who are out there partying or whatever, please be careful. Please watch what you're doing. Have a very, very, very wonderful and very blessed rest of the day. And please, all of you out there, have a very blessed rest of the weekend. And we shall see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody. Let's see. And yes.